going to assign admin to Ashley. And then she will be able to handle that. So, welcome to Yule, winter solstice, making solstice. So, what people don't understand is this holiday is more than one thing. Okay. In the pagan faith, the Wicca faith, the heathen faith. Okay. So, let's start here. Okay. Every Wicca is a pagan, but not every pagan is Wiccan. Do you understand? Wiccan is the okay, you ready? This is where you're going to see all the lights go dim. Are you ready? The Wiccan faith is the Mormon faith of the pagan faith. I said it, okay? I said it. I said it. I ain't taking it back. I said what I said and I mean it. So they have taken the faith, which is fairly new the way they've organized it. I do believe 1940s to 1960s in that area. You'll never see me do this in a lecture, so you guys should like screenshot this shit, what I'm about to do. It was an organized religion that was started by a man, and it was put into the pagan organization. And they so wonderfully took our holidays and made a wheel. And this wheel has stuck. And the wheel existed before the pagan faith, okay? And they move forward, and everyone now assumes that Sabbats belong to Wicca. They do not. They simply organize them, okay? So just because someone comes along and made shit better doesn't mean they own it. It means they took someone else's shit and put their name on it, and now they act like they own it. Are we familiar? Okay. Now that we've all discussed that the Wheel of the Year does not belong to just fucking Wicca, can we move forward? Because that's all this post in the forum the other day, and I was like I wanted to just eat the post. But I decided to stay fucking calm, carry on, and not say fuck 15 times in one post, okay? So, shall we move on from this fact? Let's move on. Yule is the epitome of calmness, cozy, and reflection. It reflects the season for which it dwells in if you are in the northern hemisphere, okay? If you are in the upper northern hemisphere, you're going to get the weather that reflects this season. If you're in the lower northern hemisphere, I'm so sorry, you will not see the snow. Okay? You will not see the snow, none of the snow. We will see the snow and we will hate the snow till about March, okay? So when you are looking at this, I want you to think of this time of the year is encouraging you to go deep, not only in your home, your relationships, but also your personal self, okay? This is a time of reflection, reaction, and realization. Lots of R's, okay? So when I'm making winter solstice, that means I'm shooting for one day. Winter solstice is one day in this whole organization. Do you understand that? One day. And it revolves around the night. It is the longest night. I was having a discussion with someone today, and we were discussing how important this one night was and how this fire was to these people. Your Yule log, it was survival. Now it's taken on a tale of protecting you from ghosts and goblins and bad meaning creatures, the Yulings and Gryla and the Yule cat and Krampus and the spirits of ancestors that wish to dwell in your home. But that is not the original meaning of this log. This log was life. They would find the biggest log they could. They would decorate it and bring it to their hearth because it kept the animals away and it kept predators away. And this is unbelievably important in the scheme of things. When you think about this process and these traditions as we talk about them tonight, you're going to understand the historical significance that has been lost along the way. Now y'all are decorating Yule pine cones because Pinterest fucking told you to. I love a Yule pine cone. I'm a fucking pine cone whore. I love me a good pine cone. I'm working on a craft right now that integrates divination, runes, and a fucking wax melt with a pine cone. Okay? That's how much I dig a good pine cone. You will find me tearing apart pine cones, baking them in my oven, worshiping them as little gods on my altar. But that is not a Yule log. I don't care how fucking hard you try, that is not a Yule log. A Yule log is a piece of wood. It is a significance. Just this once, I want you to look at the significance of the holiday. You want to find authentic joy, you have to dig to your roots, your ancestral roots. I don't love my ancestors, really, because your ancestors are more than the people you see living and breathing in front of you right now. Okay? It is your heritage. It is where you hail from. It is where you resonate with. If you are the kind of bitch that has a Pinterest board that shows old Scottish castles, I'm going to guarantee you somewhere in your past life spiral, you lived there. You dwelt there. You felt that. Okay? So don't let anyone, anywhere fucking tell you how to resonate in a holiday. Rule number 1, it's your fucking holiday. My Yule will not look like your Yule. I assure you. No one can be as unorganized and a fucking mess as I am. You can't even do it on your best day. There are cookies coming out of the oven, wax melts on the kitchen table, kits laying open, fucking magical workshops being written in the middle of the room, and folded underwear on the kitchen table ready to go into rooms. That's fucking magic. That's a kitchen witch. Do you ever see that scene in Bed Knobs and Broomsticks where all the shit's going on in the house? That's my house. I'm fucking Fantasia 24/7. Okay? There's always something going on in my heart. If you've been here, you fucking know. You've seen the chaos. But the chaos is where my magic dwells. Your chaos may be in beautifully folded napkins, beautifully decorated altars, a tree that belongs on the front of a Currier and Ives catalog, and peaceful quiet throughout your home. I would like to come visit and never leave. Okay? If you have one of those houses, please send me an invitation. I will come with my sleeping bag, my reading bag, my book bag, and my computer, and you won't even know I'm there unless you don't have coffee. And then we're going to know that Sissy knows, you know. I'm going to be like, we need to find a Dunkin' like fucking now because this is important. This is the moral of this holiday. You make the authentic joy you seek in this. Do you understand? So what are we bringing in for this holiday? Things that represent the sun, oranges, lemons, citrus, golds. Yes, you can use silver for Yule. You can. It's okay. I only have this one silver candle and this one red tablecloth. Am I good? Fuck yeah, you're good. Do you know why you're using it? Because for you, it might be this was my grandma's red tablecloth. And this is the silver candle I picked up at the thrift shop that brought me ultimate joy as I hustled my ass up to the register to check out with it. Do you understand? Stop letting other people classify your holidays. If you need to keep up with Wendy the Witch or Wanda the Newbie, who thinks she fucking knows everything, good luck. It is the way it is. You have to start living your holiday for your way. So what are some things we can do for Yule? Number 1, a good oil is always awesome, right? How many of you have a fresh tree? I'm judging you all right now. Fresh trees. Fucking fakes. You fucking fakes. You fucking fakes. No. I want you to gather a piece or two of pine, a piece or two of evergreen. Okay. You go in the grocery stores. I saw them today. I could not believe it. $19 for a bundle of fucking greens. I verklempt. And I don't have any Jewish in me. I verklempt. I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, who does this? Get 1 or 2 sprigs of pine. There is a pine tree almost everywhere in the United States. Okay. Get yourself a spaghetti sauce jar. You ready? This is some serious kitchen witch shit here. You ready? We're going to go bare fucking bones. Vegetable oil, olive oil, peanut oil, whatever oil you got in your kitchen. You ready? 2 slices of orange in the bottom. Handful of cloves. Couple pieces of star anise. Beautiful sticks of cinnamon. Yes, the cinnamon needs to be sticks. Fuck that powder shit. Okay? Don't make my butthole pucker. Get some sticks. Okay? Put those pines down in. Parchment, cheesecloth, paper towel. Are you ready? Paper towel. Put that lid on. Let it breathe. Sit it in a pot with a little bit of water. Quarter halfway up the jar. Low simmer. Let it cook and infuse. If you're feeling feisty, an apple or 2 would be great in there. Whatever fruits you feel for the holiday. I'm a pomegranate whore. There's always pomegranates in my Yule oil. Okay? I love the smell of pomegranates, and I think they change the smell of the oil. Little known fact, put a little bit of vanilla extract in it. Not the beaver secretions extract, the real stuff, not the beaver butt stuff. I'm talking about real stuff. Okay. Yes, fake extracts made out of beaver extractions. Did you know that? From their anal glands. I see what my dog does with his butt on the floor. No, thank you, sir. I do not want that from a beaver. So, real vanilla extract. If you can get a vanilla bean, even better. Let it simmer most of the day on the stove. Keep checking your water so you don't blow up your jar. Okay. And when I say simmer, it shouldn't look like when you walk in the kitchen. It shouldn't be the talking jar. It should be a low, steady simmer. Set it to the side. Get yourself a beautiful bottle to decant it in. You're going to be fancy witches for this Yule, right? Y'all being fancy pants this Yule? Strain it in your spaghetti strainer because everything should be nice and big. So it should be okay. Put that oil into a beautiful bottle. Fresh cinnamon stick in there. Fresh piece of star anise. Fresh cloves. Not the stuff you cooked in the oil. Fresh. Okay? Because you just macerated the shit out of all that stuff, right? Because we've been cooking it. It should be a little mushy. Stuff does not hold its shape in oil. You can get away with it in some things. Oil is not one of them. Strain it out. What do I do with the waste? Well, you should have a composter. If you don't live in a place where you have a composter, this is where your trash can comes in handy. Dispose of it. Put that beautiful oil on your altar. Tie it with a ribbon and gold oil. That's solstice oil. Now, you know, when there's times when I say dress a candle, that's what you're going to use. What? It makes so much sense. Yes, you're going to make your own oil for dressing your supplies, but it's only going to be good for Yule to say, no, it's not. What does that oil mean? What does that oil hold? Abundance, home, love, your time, your energy. All those things are in that little jar of oil. What if I don't need this much oil? You ready? How many sisters are you friends with here? Share it. If you really want to get it creative, one person does oil, one person does the next thing I'm about to tell you, one person does the next thing I'm about to tell you, and you do an exchange. So by the time you all create something, you have a Yule kit. Okay, so there's your oil, right? What's another thing we like to have on our altars? Oh, offering. An offering. Pine, holly, cedar, juniper, any evergreen right there in the bowl. white, pink, black salt in the bowl. Cloves, cinnamon in the bowl. Nutmeg, if you have it, the full nutmeg laying in the bowl. This is an offering bowl to sit to remind you of the season. That's what this is for. So you make an offering salt. It's also a very good candle dressing if you have it in smaller form. Okay. One of the next things that I always make for my altar is a small decoration. This is where you get to decorate your fucking pine cone. Okay. If you're all about your fucking pine cone, all you pine cone Yule log ladies, I see this is the huge trend. Or the newest thing is an altar in a jar. Okay. I love this. Salt in the bottom, couple cinnamon sticks. I can't burn candles. Well, do you have those little electric ones that you flip the switch on the bottom? Stick one of them down in. One of the most beautiful things you can do on this candle is put dried oranges along the side. So as it warms, it releases that smell. A dried orange, when warmed, will release a smell. That's why when you hang them on your Christmas tree and they sit behind the lights, they begin to smell. One of my favorite things to hang on my Christmas tree is pears and oranges, and I hang them together. The pear works as almost a buffer and an amplifier for that orange. It's a beautiful thing. So we've covered oil, altar offering salt, dressing. Let's do a dressing. Are you ready? It's a season of abundance, right? Go to your spice cupboard. Get out your pumpkin pie spice. 2 tablespoons of your pumpkin pie spice. 2 teaspoons of your pumpkin pie spice. Doesn't have to be a lot. Ground clove. Ground ginger. Ground basil. Basil is the perfect abundance item. I don't have basil. Get out your Italian seasoning. Cut it in half. Use your Italian seasoning. You guys want to know how to make these holidays? I'm fucking telling you how to make them. I am the queen of the fucking Dollar Tree. Witching on a dime over here, man. I can make magic in a fucking McDonald's condiment rack. You can too, if you think about it. Stop working so hard and make your apothecaries work for you. Stop calling them your spice cupboards. Ladies, your witches, these are your apothecaries. These are your hearth apothecaries. And they're so important. When you're doing these things, I want you to focus. I want you to hone in on your craft. And I want you to really realize what you're doing with your intentions. I want you to label your jars when you're creating things. The Dollar Tree sells them. They're the little containers, 3 of them in a pack, 4 of them in a pack for $1.25 now. Inflation has hit us. It's $1.25. Okay. Label these things and put your years on them. I save my ingredients year to year in my apothecary. And I'll go back and I'll smell from last year to this year. And I guarantee you, once you do this in a couple years, they'll all start smelling the same because you'll find you have a recipe to heart. It's a time frame thing. So one of my favorite things to do on solstice is I make an ice lantern. Okay. It's not something a lot of people do anymore because it was made outside. The original tradition was for them to be made outside. And with the climates the way they are now, it's hit or miss of whether it can be frozen long. Okay. So the original thing was I would take a tin can. Okay. And I would poke holes in it. I would freeze it solid with ice. I would use my hammer and I would tap out a pentagram on my can. Okay. And I would do that a week before solstice. That's when coffee used to come in actual tin cans. Okay. Now I use a number 10 can of tomatoes or green beans. Okay. So I pound that out. You guys all know the safe way of pounding out a tin can or no? Okay. The safest way to pound out a tin can is to, number 1, wrap the edges with duct tape or masking tape. Get yourself a piece of paraffin coated parchment paper. So that wax freezer paper is the best. Okay. Something that's coated. print out whatever you're doing on it, tape it to the can, hold your can between two things to center it. So I usually put mine between two cinder blocks or I shove it in between something so it's not rolling all around because it's a fucking can. Okay? Let's think about what this is and it's filled with ice, okay? So as you're tapping in, you want to use a very long nail, something along this line, not a roofing nail, which is really small, a longer nail. And you want to tap with a hammer till you're through. Do not rub your hand along the inside of the fucking can. I do not want to hear about the urgent care visits. I was checking if the edges were sharp. They're going to be fucking sharp. You're pounding through a can, genius. Okay? Make your design whatever you want on that. I dry it, flip it over, let it air dry. Don't go in there and pound it all out. You're not going to keep this long term, probably. Okay? If you're smart, Hanover makes green bean cans that are plastic coated on the inside. They're coated on the inside for safety reasons. I have to look. I have 2 in my cupboard. I'll have to tell you exactly what the brands are. I'll post them to the forum so you guys know. But those will last longer than the simple tin cans. Okay? And I use this all winter long as my full moon candle after solstice. This becomes my full moon candle because I either put in an angel shape, a star shape, a bell shape, or a reindeer shape. Last year I did reindeer on mine. And you can print out the stuff online and you tap those. Do that a week or 2 ahead of the ice lantern, okay? Because you're going to have to pay attention with the ice lantern. Now, the whole purpose of an ice lantern is having a hole in the center to put your candle. Do you understand? So what are we going to do here? A bunt pan. Yes, a bunt. A bunt pan is the smartest way to make an ice lantern. Whether it's a big bunt or a little bunt, it is a bunt. Okay? I've even found bunts in silicone molds. They're my favorite. Okay? So I find the silicone molds. I make 4 of them. I make 4 little cans. I put them at the corners of my fire pit for Yule night. In my molds, I put cranberries, orange slices, sometimes star anise, but I keep these friendly. Sometimes I sprinkle birdseed in them because what will happen is after they melt, I dispose of them on the grass, remove the candle stem, and I let the birds eat what came out of my ice lanterns because it's returning it. Then you're not disposing of anything, your birds are eating it. What if I live in the city, sissy? What do I do with the things that are in my ice lantern? Well, you could dry them. You could put them in a mesh bag and dry them. I do not advise you bring them in your house. They're going to bring fruit flies eventually. You can hang them outside and let them dry. If you don't feel comfortable with that, toss them. But ice lanterns are beautiful. They're a representation of the sun melting the abundance of the solstice. So you have all these beautiful fruits. You don't have to have tons, just enough to make them pretty. I am extra cheese, extra fries, extra pickles on the side, like I told you. Oh, my ice lanterns are fucking works of art. My husband is so sick of me making ice lanterns because I clear the whole shelf out in the freezer. He's like, what the fuck are we doing? And I'm like, witchcraft. And I walk away. But it's something I enjoy. It's a beautiful craft for me to do for the solstice. If you're a new broom, this is a must. This is a must. If you've never done this before, this is a must. You are going to feel so fucking special when you pull out your Picasso ice lantern for solstice. You're going to be like, bitch, look at me. I fucking killed it. And if it's cold enough, it'll last the whole night for you. So I usually end up having a 2x3 candle in the center of mine, and they last all night where I live. Now I live in central Pennsylvania, bumblefuck. It's very cold here. I don't know where all of you live. So think about where you're at and the weather and gauge it. So ice lanterns. What's another thing we can do for solstice? On the night of solstice, we make wishing garlands. When I say we, Caroline and I make wishing garlands. Daddy thinks this is bullshit hooey, okay? He does not do the solstice with us. He does not do the magical chocolate, the hot chocolate. He does not do the wishing garlands. So if you all think that you're sitting there in your houses and you're the only person doing something that you should stop, do not stop. This is about your joy, not other people's joy. My husband sits here drinking his glass of bourbon, smoking his cigar. He has a cigar on Solstice, though, which I love now. So he's switched to a cigar on Solstice, which I love this. But he will sit there with me while I stay up and I make the garlands. But the garlands are about the 12 days of Yule for me. They're not about just that night. They're about the things that I wish to bring into my family. And I'm really weird about these. So you guys, I've never shared this craft with you guys before. So this is a first time, and these are a private craft that I do myself. So if this is something you want to do and it works for you, that's awesome. If it's not, probably not. I don't know if this is something other people do. This is my German heritage. My grandma used to do this. So we would cut strips of ribbon that we could write on and use Sharpies, and we would write a wish on the ribbon. Then we would tie them with a beautiful white ribbon, like a small white eyelet ribbon, and tie them to jute. And she never had a garland on her Christmas tree. This was her garland. Now, the cool part was how she held it on her tree. She had candle clips. True German grandma, okay? We made cookies on the night before solstice. I never connected my grandma was a witch till I got older. Okay. And I thought this through. Okay. I was like, my grandma was a witch. What the hell? And she went to church. This is weird. So we would make reindeer cookies the night before, which is dessert, which is Mother's Night. And we would make these reindeer cookies, and they were of cinnamon and spice, and they were beautiful. And they had this aroma that filled her whole house for the whole day of before solstice night. So we would make these ribbons all afternoon, and we would tie them to the big thing. And she would wrap them around her Christmas tree and put them in with her candle hooks. So I do this now with Caroline. I have 15 candle hooks, and I'm very careful when I put the candles on my tree, but I put at least 3 candles in those hooks the night of solstice while I hang that garland for the Mother, Maiden, and Crone to bless those intentions to carry us through the Yule season. And they're wrapped and they're very simple. You can put as many as you want, just like that, Tasha. Exactly. Those are what I use. So we put them all through the tree. And on that night, we hide a dove, a squirrel, and a pickle. Our family does. A dove, a squirrel, and a pickle. And a nutcracker, because the nutcracker is a $500 gift card in our house. Whoever finds the golden nutcracker gets the gift card. So I hide that on solstice. They find it on Christmas morning. That's how we do that. So when we do this, it won't be a $500 gift card this year because money's rough and times are hard. Maybe like a couple Hershey bars if they win. So they're all old now too. So when we do this, these garlands are a representation of our family. On the last night of the year, I wrap these around a log and I burn them and release them. That's my New Year's Eve wrap for my fire log. It releases it. It gives it to the past, it sends it to the future, and it blesses it through my fire. That's fucking alchemy. I added that to my grandmother's tradition and my mother's tradition. So if you think you're stuck in Yule traditions that you've always done, you're not. You can change them, you can adjust them, you can move them, and you can make them your own. Do you hear the importance of that? It's so important to understand these are your traditions. We call it the wishing rope at our house. It's not even a garland, it's called the rope. And everybody puts their wishes on it. Last year, I even got my husband to give me a couple to write. I'm like, well, what do you want me to write? And he's like, I don't know. And I'm like, how about you want me to write something? He's like, he rambles something off. And I'm like, okay. One of his last year was my wife does less witchy shit. Well, we know that didn't come true. So, but when you think of these traditions that you're doing, that's something we do on that night. Another thing we do on that night is we write our family update for the year. We write about everything, good, bad, and ugly in our holiday traditions book. So I started a book about 10 years ago with each of my kids, and we wrote a story every solstice eve on what our families accomplished that year. Sometimes that's the Christmas card update that goes out to all the family members because I send the cards the week before the actual 25th for my family. And we put that story in there. But it's the story as we all see it for our family, not just as one of us sees it. It's the communal story of our family. The night of solstice is about being with the people you love. I don't care if that's your blood family. I don't care if that's your chosen family. I don't care if that's your sisters. That is the night of the people you love. Share a meal. Doesn't have to be a crazy meal. We have solstice spaghetti. That's what we have. And it's white sauce spaghetti because my kids hate red sauce. So it's like that's our family tradition. I bake bread that day. I bake sun bread that day. So we have a big sun loaf of bread and we have pasta and we sit at the table and we play games. And Caroline usually makes it till like 11:30. But during the hours of 1 to 4 in that time frame, that's when I write my intentions for the coming year. I'm in the darkest part of my magic. This is right before the big payoff. This is right before that energy comes back in. This is the big show. And you'll see in this packet, there are things to do every day in Yule. This is a big freaking packet. It's going to take you some time. The prayers are beautiful. They don't have to be huge. But this is the night for us as a group that matters. The coming of the sun is a promise. If you're not familiar with the story of the Holly King to the Oak King, read into that. Holly is a powerful ogum. It is the mightiest of mights. It is a strong, strong bush that holds its space and doesn't refrain. It's the hope of the traveler. The red berry is the hope of the traveler. When they saw that in the woods, they knew that there was life there and they knew life could be sustained there. These are things that you will learn through your path as a new broom. But my concern is that you know how to celebrate with meaning. This is the longest night. And everybody that tells you, oh, solstice is just solstice, it's not. This is a holy night in your faith, in your practice, in your belief. This is something that no one can dispute. It is the longest night on record in our calendar year. This is not a disputable fact. It isn't like an imaginary baby or a man that became a saint and delivered toys or a witch who cuts your guts out and stuffs you full if you're a bad kid. This isn't a tale. This is a true fact you can fucking hold to. What other belief system has true facts you can fucking hold to? We have one right here in our arsenal. This is the longest night. Solstice is the longest day. There is no shame in observing this holiday. So if someone shames you for Yule, you can just say, I observe winter solstice. It is a completely valid belief. Journal this day, prepare this day, take time this day. Ali Sissy, I'm going to have to muggle struggle. Me too. Me too. But throughout the day, I will be mindful of what this day means. Slow down. Proceed with honor and caution. It's a long night for a reason. The dark holds every fear that humans have ever been afraid of. It is why we invented fire. It is why we hide in caves to avoid danger. If you know how to make peace with the dark and move through the liminal with ease, and honor, your faith will grow 10 times stronger at that rise of the sun. And the most important thing about the solstice night is greeting the sun. Rise her up. Get out there. If you're a wuss and you fall asleep, set your alarm to greet the morning. There is nothing like a cold solstice morning to breathe you back to life. It resonates in a part of your soul as a witch that you will feel the alignment. I think my first magical memory with the Yuletide season was the first year I fully acknowledged I was a witch, and I went outside in my pajamas. There's a reason I'm in my pajamas tonight. I was in my pajamas and in my robe, and I stepped outside and I felt the sun coming up over my face and just warming me as it came out. And I remember standing there shivering because it was so cold. There was icicles hanging down the trees, but the sun was so warm. It was almost like I could feel the goddess touching my face. And it was life-changing for me. If you're not having those magical moments, can I please ask you to try? Because those kind of moments will change your magic. They will bring your magic to a level that you never thought you could have. Authentic magic feels so different than complicated, overthought effort magic. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, witch. If you can't do all the stuff, greet the sun. Write your feelings. I put that post in the MVP last night about things to transform for solstice. I didn't realize till this morning I didn't hit publish, but it's there now. I thought I was really ahead of it last night. I put it in and I'm like, oh, look, I got that in. I looked in the morning. I'm like, didn't hit publish. Way to go, dumbass. So when you sit in this frame of mind, the solstice is a transformation time. You're going to transform your home. You all transfer your home for the Yuletide. If you observe any of the Yuletide holidays, your home will transform. Even if you don't, your home transforms. It's really weird, but it happens. And you're going to transform your frame of mind. I'm going to ask you a really big witchy favor. It is so easy this time of year to share Christmas trees are witchcraft. We own Odin. Odin is Santa. Pagans, Christians stole our holiday. I'm going to ask a huge favor. And you're all going to be like, fuck you, sissy. Step above it. Show them how classy and mature we are. Show them what beautiful goddesses we are. Blessed solstice. Happy solstice. If they celebrate Christmas, happy Christmas. We want to be respected. Let's put it out and respect what they do. There is no harm if you are a witch and you celebrate Christmas. I know some of you almost just fell off your fucking chairs when I said that. Some of you live in divided households. Some of you were raised in past that reflected that. Christmas just isn't about a baby in a manger. For some of us, it's the only memories we have left of people we love. It's the ornaments in the boxes. It's the blankets that we pull out of the chest. It's the recipes that we cook. It's the cookies that we sit under our trees with. It's our fucking trees. Those things resonate who we were. You don't throw out all your past when you become a witch. You learn that your past has made you who you are and strengthened your path that you walk on. Some of you that have known me for a while are like, damn, Sissy going crazy. There's no harm in it. There's no harm in it. My mother is a diehard Christmas person. And I see the joy it brings her when she puts up her 15-foot tree. I see the joy it brings her when she puts all her grandkids in Santa hats. Who am I to question her authentic joy? Who are you to question someone else's authentic joy? If we start to treat each other with a little more respect, this is all going to go a lot easier for us. There are things we need to hold sacred in our path. Solstice is something I think is very sacred. And I think we overlook it a great deal. We focus on Yule and those 12 days and the hygge and the reflection and the process, but we're missing the big show. The big show is that long night and that beautiful sunrise. And then once in a while, we get fucked out of the beautiful sunrise. Man, does that piss me off. It'll be raining or snowing or sleeting. That pisses me off. But you know what? It is what it is that year. And the next day I go out and grab the sun if I can. But you have to make the best of the Yuletide. That's the whole season. And you're going to have to deal with Christians everywhere you go. In a perfect world, we would all be heathen. But guess what? We're not. In a perfect world, we'd all be pagan, but we're not. So guess what? Alas, we move forward and we move to better. And better is channeling our divine energy for a spirit of harmony and respect. Solstice is going to be what you make it. The Yuletide is going to be what you make it. I'm not going through 12 days of Yule. You're all smart enough to read. You all can read it. You all can read a PDF. This is one of the best books on the market to learn about Yule if you're new. The Llewellyn's Sabbath's Individual is the best. The next one is the girl, the lady, the legend, Adaine McCoy. If you can get your hands on an Adaine McCoy Sabbath's book, you should scarf it up and hold it like a Bible. It is one of the best complete Sabbath books you will ever see. Adaine McCoy is deceased, so her books go up in value every year. So if you are going to add a book to your collection this solstice as a little present for yourself, and Adaine McCoy Sabbath's book is your key. I have mine, but she's sitting on my nighttime table because I'm researching a little Yule ritual to do for myself. So what are we going to do on solstice for ritual wise? You're going to need a candle, a blue one, a gold one, a green one, a red one, or a white one. Not Edwin McCoy, Adaine, Edain, Edaine. Celtic name, Adaine. So when you're doing these things, I want you guys to think about your candles. What are you going to carve them with? Yes, I'm going to tell you all to carve your candle for solstice. Yes, we are going to carve this candle. How about a sun? How about a sun on that candle? How about a heart on that candle? How about an Ophala rune on that candle? How about a Fehu rune on that candle? How about a sigil of abundance for you and your family? What are you going to use to carve your candle? Well, unless you have a fancy scribe like that bitch over there to Smoke and Soil, because she's got a fancy scribe. I watch her. I envy Jenna's candle scribe. That thing is beautiful. I use the rounded tip of a potato peeler. I scry it out with a pencil sharply, and then I use that tip of the potato peeler to go around. You know, that core that you take the eyes out of a potato? It's a perfect candle carver. Perfect. And it's safe. Just don't put the fucking blade in your hand, okay? Please don't do that, all right? So when you're doing that, just go gently around. I know a lot of people, some people use a heat gun. They use the edge of a wood burner to carve. Some people just paint on their candles. What if I can't burn candles, Sissy? Get an electric candle for this night. Get an oil candle for this night. Get a candle in a glass jar for this night. You need a candle for solstice. I'm sorry, there's no substitute for solstice. Can I use my Yule log? Yes, you can use your fucking Yule log. That would be perfect. Do not light your Yule pine cone in your house. That would be bad. Do not use a witch's torch on solstice in your house. That will be bad. For those of you that are not aware what a witch's torch is, that is a mullein stem dipped in beeswax, and your house will stink and you will have a 2 alarm fire on your altar. Witches' torches are for outside. They're an outside toy, ladies, not an inside toy. Okay. So I don't want to hear about any of you burning Hecate's torches in your houses for solstice, because then we're going to be having a please rebuild their home because they burned it to the ground on solstice party. Okay. So Yule logs, candles, electric candles, glass container candles. I do believe that Ashley girl makes lots of candles. You'd use one of those and dress it appropriately. I saw something the other day where someone took a glass candle from the Dollar Tree. They wrapped it with ribbon and decorated it for Yule for their house because they weren't able to do an open flame. So they felt comfortable with having it inside the glass. This is where it's up to you. I'm going to put a post in the forum. We have a cauldron cackle for those of you that are new tonight. I know there's faces in there I haven't seen before. The cauldron cackle will have a place for you to share your candles as you adorn them. So you all can be like, beautiful candle, beautiful candle, beautiful candle. And you all can get an atta girl for your candle. Okay. You're going to adorn that candle with herbs of your liking if it's a carved candle and it's dressed. You're going to make Yule oil, right? So let's use our Yule oil to rub that candle. How are we going to do this so it's not a mess? You ever see a paper plate? I want you to put your candle on an appropriate size paper plate. Put a little bit of oil on the paper plate. Roll your candle back and forth. Okay? Then I want you to find the spices that you want to use. I use cinnamon for the solstice. I make a small candle dressing and I use cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger for solstice. It's my thing. Always have, always will. And I use calendula flowers for the bright yellowness of the sun. And I roll my candle in that dressing. Put it in a bed of salt to draw any negative energy away from my candle. I want my candle to have a good start for the coming year. So I put it in a bed of salt. Pink coarse salt is what I usually use. And I light my candle when the sun goes down and I'll let it burn all night. Yes, I stay up with my candle. Yes, I stay up with my altar. Yes, I stay up for solstice. I'm an old lady. If I can do it, you can do it too. And we all know that Sissy grows a pumpkin stub at 9:30 at night. You can do this. I believe in you. The candle is very important for this Sabbath. What are you going to do when you're up? You're going to string oranges and make garlands. You're going to write intentions and put them on your tree. You're going to create crafts. You're going to write intentions for the coming year. You're going to write in your journals. You're going to write on those transformation prompts. You're going to do inner work. I have friends who get drunk and play cards during solstice. That's their thing every year. They get a couple of bottles of mead. They sit up all night. They tell stories. They eat fruitcake. And then it's weird. At 4:00, they all get out their books and start writing at the end of the night till the sun comes up. They have a ritual. They have a routine. If this is your first year, welcome to your routine. You got to decide how this solstice is going to play out for you. I gave you a lot of stuff to consider and work through. There will be a lot more things going up throughout the cauldron for this holiday. But I want you to understand your solstice will be what you make it. I'm not going to sit around anymore hand holding you guys. Even if you're a new broom, you know how to make decisions. You're a cognitive thinker. You can read, you can make your own decisions, and you can ask questions. That is the important part. You need to ask questions if you don't understand things. There is no shame in asking questions. But what I'm encouraging you guys to do this year is to follow your intuition, your authentic magic, and make your own solstice. Any questions? Everybody's like, that was a lot. Jen? You have to unmute yourself, Jen.
Okay. Do you ever use your athame to carve sigils? I've heard pros and cons on that.
I don't have an athame.
Okay.
I have a buck knife on my altar. When I hunt,
So
that's my
yeah.
knife. That's my witch knife. And I only use my buck knife from blood magic. I don't have an athame. I never have. I know a lot of people do. It's just never been a tool I've added. I know witches who use theirs, but I was always under the impression it was for only air magic. And athame was to never touch items. You'd be more likely to find a kitchen knife on my altar than an athame.
No, I've had one, but I don't use it. The only time I do use it, if anything, is when I go outside. I may stick it into the ground and have my wand on the opposite side, but I've never used it for that. So I thought, wow, that'd be a really cool carving tool. And if I'm not using it, if it's intent, why not?
If that's what you want to use it for, it's your tool.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I just don't have one. So I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, yes, my athame, because I'd be full of shit. I don't have an athame. Melissa?
Hi. So I have a question because I was trying to plan for this ahead of time because just practically I can't stay up all night health wise, but I want to plan ahead to have a candle going all night. So what I did was I got smaller candles for my real candles that I can burn just for a couple hours beforehand. But I have a special LED candle blue that I use for special holidays on my dresser. Can I use that for my all night candle? Because that's safe and I can leave it unattended and just burn it all night.
Yeah, if you're not going to stay up, definitely be safe. I'm all about safety first.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alicia?
Hey, I don't have a question. Just I mentioned it in the chat. Have you ever had like a Zoom link open for like 24 hours?
I won't open a Zoom link for 24 hours.
No.
I'll come in there 4 hours in and there'll be a card reader in the Zoom link doing free tarot card readings because somehow people seem to find these opportunities at every turn.
Okay. I don't know if that would be something maybe we could do. Maybe it's just for like an hour or so. I don't know.
I mean, if you guys want a slumber party on Solstice, we can set that up. But it would definitely be shut down at a certain time.
Gotcha.
I don't have a problem with that at all. And I encourage you guys to go live from your Facebooks or any way you can. I don't know how you do it in the Cauldron Cackle. We can kind of tackle that for you guys to, or tape your sunrises where you are and share them.
Yeah, that'd be
I think that would be epic because everybody's in a different place and it would be beautiful to see it. And some people are going to see the sun way before other people. So it'd be cool for people to see that.
Yeah, great idea. We should definitely do something like that.
Any other questions, guys? You guys are all quiet tonight.
You know, that just incites me to talk when you say that.
Asha, you don't need incited to talk. If I was going to start a riot, you would be at the top of my list.
I'm there. You know, I put it in the chat too. Like I know Jen lives in the desert, so there might not be a pine tree close by. I don't know. I've never been there, but I did put it in there that I work at Walmart, and so they do have birch logs, little birch logs for 2 for $5. So, I mean, you could always, or Michael's or wherever, but you can always find a little Yule log to make and put stuff on there yourself.
You can also use your wood from your wood pile. Like that's what we do. We get a log from the wood pile. Usually Dawn picks it out. This year Zelda did because she's been given a special assignment. And because that's the stuff that we would burn in our hearth and our fireplace anyway to help. We do it no matter what, but especially this year to help alleviate that gas bill because we have a furnace because we're in Minnesota, you know. And so it doesn't have to be birch. It can just be what you have around you. Use what you have. Not every culture has birch. Not every culture has had pine cones. They used what they had. So do that.
Well, yeah, that's where I agree too. And like, if you can't have a, if you don't have a big one or whatever, or you don't want one, you can just get those little things from Michael's or the dollar store, whatever, that has the little mini logs for crafting. I mean, just something that small and simple.
Michael's
Caroline, go ahead, Mandy. I'm sorry.
No, I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I found at Michael's, they're actually candles in the shape of pine cones. So what I was gonna do is write my like wishes and intents, put them, like roll them up really tight, and actually use different colored wax from other candles to seal them shut, and then to put them in the layers that they have. And then you can burn that safely inside, and that can be what you're burning. So there's other ways to do it if you don't want to be outside and that can do it safely. It's just a matter of thinking outside the box.
That's a really great idea. Last year, I saw someone who took layers of, it looked like the shims, the wood shims you buy at Lowe's, and she glued them together with wax. And in between them, she put intentions and like different herbs and things like that. And she ended up building it what looked like a Yule tree with the shims from Lowe's. And she's like, where there's a witch, there's a way. And she put this little star on top. It was so cute, a little wind star. And then fucking solstice, I almost died because I was like loving her tree. She goes, burn, bitch, burn. And she lit that for her solstice candle. I was like, oh, you are my fucking hero. She like wrapped a shoestring around it. She was talking about her struggles of being a single mom and how she still wanted to do her craft so bad. And I was watching this, like I was in for this, man. I had popcorn and everything. I'm like, what is this bitch doing? And she was wrapping every day. She's like putting another layer of wax on my shims. And I'm like, what the fuck is she doing? And then Solstice, she's on there, burn, bitch, burn. I'm like, get it, bitch, get it. I was so proud of her when I saw it burn up. And it fucking lasted till the morning. I was so impressed. She did such a great job. She sat there with she had a cup of coffee. She was pouring the Baileys in it. She goes, job well fucking done. She goes, you'll log lit and so am I. I was like, get it, girl. I was never surprised. And then her TikTok disappeared. I never saw her again. I was so disappointed. Mandy?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt again. So I actually decided, instead of having a live tree, I decided to take some dowels and cut them to size. And I'm actually in the wall behind me, which is in my entranceway. I'm actually making that so I can take it apart and put it together, but I'm actually going to leave it up all year. So I actually stain them to a mahogany color. I used green twine and just finished like gluing it on. And so I'm going to put that all up. And so I'm going to use it as my Sabbath tree. So for Yule, I made my own decorations. I'm doing the crazy thing of making my own decorations and have been working on the fuckers for weeks, but I've worked on them. Wood burn, paint pours, what the fuck? Got those done. I now know that if you put paint pours in an ornament and you put them in a sunroom where they get hot, it melts. Didn't know that. I know that now. I do, guys. But I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna keep it up all year round, and I'm just gonna change what's on it to match my Sabbath.
Fun fact: when I met Mandy, and we had our first private talk, Mandy said, "I'm not real crafty." Witchcraft will have you buying craft supplies. I'm just telling you, warning, this bitch so crafty now.
I think I bought every single craft supply at the Dollar Tree. I'm obsessed. I have problems. It's not good.
I came home with a whole bag of stuff today, and my husband says, do you have craft dysplasia? Like, do you not fucking understand how much shit you have? And I'm like,
It's crazy.
I'm like, but this is new shit. Like, that's
Yeah,
what I say when
I
I
always
look it
have
up.
new shit
This
too.
is
You gotta
new
get it.
shit. Exactly.
I totally
Jen?
remember that about Mandy too. Oh, sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're fine. Jen?
Sorry.
That's okay.
No, it's we live on a golf course, so that's the only greenery that I see, which I'm very thankful for because I love foliage. But they've been cutting down some of the trees in the area, and I was laughing so hard because they cut the wood and they kind of left it there. Well, I was like the squirrel on Ice Age, seeing nuts out there. I put on some skeleton work hands and I'm out there pushing these things. And it's just hysterical because my guy looks at me and says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "It's a gift. It's a gift." And so I was out there pushing these things over. And I mean, and then he's like, "Well, you can stop." I'm like, "No, there's still one more there." And the next thing you know, they came back the next day to pick up the wood and it was practically all gone. But I've got mastodon, like log pieces all over the house and on my patio. And now when they cut the tree, they have it like roped off so nobody can take the wood because I'm sure that guy went, "Oh, I'm going to sell this." But yeah, I've got several huge logs now. And so, I was thinking of getting a hold of Mandy, say, "Hey, how do I craft these pieces so I can make a big old ass bitch after?" So even we showed other people and they're like, "Are you serious? You?" It's like, more squirrely wood. Just funny.
Kat, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take one last from Kat. Kat, I saw your hand up.
Well, I don't really have a question. I was just gonna say I keep telling Mandy all the time. I'm like, and you are always saying how not crafty you are. I'm like, but you are always crafting, and you're good at it.
Well, it's funny what the craft will bring out in you.
Hmm.
I see women who were never writers that are writers now. I see women who were never leaders that are leaders now. I see women who were the shyest people that are like hosting groups at their houses and having ritual. I see women who were like, "I'm not that spiritual." They're like walking around hippie shit, calling me going, "Do you think if I cut this tree down that the spirit will need an offering?" I'm like, "I thought you weren't spiritual. Like, what the hell's going on with you?" You would be surprised how the craft changes your heart.
Yeah.
And the more you heal yourself, the more the craft will change you. And I love that because I know some of you have only been here since the Medusa intake. And I mean, we're not calling that the gateway drug of the LHC. But this situation, as I call it now, the situation has really grown and really gotten different and really changed. I've changed. You guys have changed. We all have changed. But what I want you to understand is at the end of it here, this is a community of being yourself. It's not a community of being anybody else or who anybody else wants you to be. I love that you're also individual and you're also yourself. Your faces are beautiful Christmas lights on the screen tonight. You're all different, you're all unique, you're all special. And I'm not saying that like I'd say about my kids, you're also special. That means because they're fucking weird. But you're also special because you've all found your niche. And if you're watching this tonight and you're new to the LHC, welcome. We are a group of lunatics who are accepting of everybody else's weirdness, and we're happy to have you. And ladies, we're fucking magic because we say we are. And no one needs to tell you you're magical. So, guys, this is the New Broom Kickoff School. Take a look at the tab when you get a minute. Check it out. The school will be free December and January and February. We will start a $5 donation in March for education. And every month, those fees will go to a women's charity. I've decided that if I am going to educate new brooms, I'm going to do it from a viewpoint of magic and growth. Because I think a magical woman is a much better asset to this craft if she is well. And I think that's what's missing in new broom communities. Nobody really cares about the person doing the magic. They just want to put guidelines on the magic. And that's not how it works. I'm not here to put a fucking gate down. You want to swim out into where the waters are dangerous? Oh, girl, I will come get you when you are stranded and you might want a life jacket. All I'm going to tell you is do what you want, but be protected. Just like I tell my teenage daughter, be protected. Do what you want, but be protected. Same thing in craft. You can do whatever you want if you ward and protect yourself properly. I didn't say you would do it well. I said you could do whatever you wanted. You've got to learn the skills. And the only way you're going to learn the skills is to jump in and do them. So many people want to teach you 300 a year and a day. You need a year and a day before you can practice. Who the fuck's here to tell you a year and a day? If you'll see the page, it's a cottage in the middle of a shire. Welcome to the hedge. This is how we're doing education. I'm not going to hold boundaries on people. That's not my job. Your safety is your responsibility, which at your own risk. But get well before you hurt others. That's the rules. So thank you for coming to Yule, making Solstice tonight. You all didn't think we talked so much about Solstice, did ya? Take a look through the website. Mary Magdalene is hidden. She is the private workshop, the dessert workshop. It's only $3. It's not going to break anybody's pockets. A small workshop. Watch the Parchment Witch later this weekend. I will have Spark Up. There is be a special rendition of Holiday Spark Up. That's a freebie for you guys in the Parchment Witch. Probably about 10, 12 prompts on rekindling your holiday spark. And hopefully it's how you don't kill a Christian this season, okay?
That's why I'm an introvert. Don't mingle.
Do yourself a favor, hug a dog and spare a Christian, okay? Can we all do
That's
that
how we
this
get our
month?
sacrificers.
No,
Yeah.
Chris, no sacrifices, no Boulder holiday. Do you understand?
Damn it.
I was waiting for that, Chris. I was
I
totally
have
waiting
plenty
for
of
that.
wood.
I was curious, is tonight anybody's first night here? Like, is there anybody that this is your first time?
Yeah, Sharon down
Hi,
in the corner.
Sharon. Hi, Sharon.
Hi,
Nice
Sharon.
meeting you.
Welcome to the
Welcome.
asylum.
Welcome. We're a bunch of crazy bitches. It's fun here.
Good to have
She's
you.
like, she's like, I'm not
Too
coming
late, it
back.
won't
This
hurt.
was a
She's
lot.
done.
Hey, I even kept my cussing down to a minimum tonight.
Yeah, you were good.
Yeah,
And
you
I
did
only
good.
mentioned
Stop
sacrifices once. Look at me.
Stop working on that shit. You need to swear more. That's like part of your charm, Sissy.
That's
Oh,
what
yeah.
was off. There was no F bombs. It was just totally
Come
off.
on.
Sissy.
I think I'm getting
What
fucking
the
docile.
fuck is happening?
Oh
I
my
think
god.
I think this holiday season is
Intervention.
making me a bit docile.
Sharon with a Y,
It's-
right?
It's
Yeah.
that dog. It's that dog
Nice to
that
meet
came
you.
to live at my house. He's made me very
Yeah.
docile.
Making
It's
you
a lot of
soft.
craziness here, Sharon, but we're all, it's really, we're all just us, and you take us or leave us, and
It's the right amount of crazy, right, Tasha? Just the right
Right.
amount.
I need this crazy. I need this crazy in my life really bad.
oh yeah,
Okay.
you can just come and be yourself and welcome. And we're glad to see you.
Straight jackets are to the left. Shadow work prompts are to the right. Welcome.
A very merry unbirthday to you today.
You guys have a wonderful night. You're magic because you fucking say you are. Go decorate your houses, and I better see solstice candles.
Mm.
Do you understand? This is me judging
Yes.
you. I'm watching.
But
Okay.
no sacrifices, right?
Not
We'll
not
talk.
with Sharon here.
I'm with Chris.
Yeah. Shh.
We'll talk about that later, Chris.
Okay, okay.
Good night,
Go read your
guys.
email.
Good night.
Right.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.